folks, welcome back. Today we're going to work on the cover for the Coffee Lover album, that's the word, album, not album. And we're going to be using the Coffee Paper Collection by Echo Park. If you didn't check out the video that I did for the embellishment piece, you might want to go ahead and check that out because we're going to be using this piece right here. This is going to become our closure mechanism for the cover. So let's talk about the cuts to make for this collection, for this album. Let's start off with our chipboard. This is going to be a gatefold album, so there's a back, 2 spines, and the closure will meet in the middle in the front. And this piece is 8 inches by 8 inches, I think. Yes, 8 by 8. So you need one piece at 8 by 8. This is the front here, so it's going to be 8 inches tall by 4 inches wide. And these 2 pieces here are the spine. They're 8 inches tall by 3 3/4 inches wide. And we have the cover wrap, which I've actually already glued together several pieces of 65-pound paper in sequence, just so that we'll have enough to wrap around the cover. Set this aside. For the mats for the cover, we've got several pieces here. This is from the collection. These are the, I think we're going to be double matting most of this. So let me go through the double matting. Okay, these are the sides. This is the first mat, and this is 3.5 by 7 3/4. And this is coffee stain paper. This is the second mat that's going to go on top of this. This is 3 1/4 by 7.5. There are 2 of each of those cuts. This is layer 1 for the front, 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. And this is layer 2 for the front, and this is 3.5 by 7.5. So it's going to look like that, and there are 2 of each of those. And this is the back, and this is 7 3/4 squared. And this is layer 2 for the back at 7.5 inches squared. The binding piece is 9 3/4 inches wide. We're going to score that at 1 3/4, 2.5, 2 3/4, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5 1/4, 5 3/4, 6 1/4, 7, 7.5, and 8. And it is 7 3/4 inches tall. And we're going to add a flap. So far, all the paper has been 65 pound. This flap is 110 pound. It's 7 1/4 inches wide by 8 inches tall. And we're going to score the 8-inch side at 1/2 inch. This is going to be a bottom flap. We're going to adhere it at the bottom and flip it up. And there's going to be a wraparound around this flap, and it's going to be magnetized, held in place with a magnet. And the dimensions for the wraparound are 8 1/4 inches, and we're going to score the 8 1/4 side at 1/2 inch and 7 3/4 inches and 7.5 inches. And we've got 2 pieces at those dimensions. Then we have the mats. Actually, let's go over the rest of the cover. There's also going to be a flap on the right of the back, and those dimensions are 8, scored at 1/2 inch by 7.5. And the same mat on the left, or the same flap on the left. We've got a handful of mats. Looks like we got 5 mats, and a couple of different sizes here actually going on. So this one is 7 1/4 inches squared, and we actually have 2 of those. And this one's going to go on the wraparound. Both of these are actually. Actually, all three of these are going to go on the wraparound. So these two are 7 by 7 1/4. We're going to double mat one side, and this is the second mat that's going to go on that one, and it's 6 3/4 by 7. And on the interior, we also have a, so we're going to need a cover for the spine on the right side. We're going to attach the hinges to the left, so we need a cover for the right, and that is 3 1/2 by 7 3/4. And the inside of the gatefold is also going to, it's actually going to have an accordion. And maybe not an accordion, actually it's actually a flap. Oop, on both sides. And the flaps are 65 pound, they measure 4 1/2. We're going to score that at 1/2 inch by 8. And the mats for those two pieces are 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. And to cover the chipboard on the right side of the spine, that paper is 65 pound and it's 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. So let's go ahead and get started with assembly. This may end up being a pretty long video, so I'll try to keep it as quick as I can. Okay, that went about as well as I could have hoped, actually. So the next part is to go ahead and add the closure piece, and we're going to need to do a little bit of work on that first. This piece is cut to 7 inches by 8.5, and on the 7-inch side we're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 7.5 inches. Or sorry, 1/2 inch and 6.5 inches. And then on the 8-inch side, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a little pocket behind this shaker. And then we're going to put some magnets behind the pocket. Those magnets are going to match up to magnets here on the cover. And I'm going to use the larger magnets so that I've got so that they'll get a pretty good grip. And then we'll add a mat behind the pocket, and then we're going to add an insert inside the pocket, and it's going to be something that if you want to, you can stick a photograph behind it, or you can just leave the decorative element in that pocket.